In the dim chamber where ancient stone watched over forgotten secrets, Ling Han stood before the mysterious statue, his mind turning as swiftly as a cyclone of blades. The air trembled with unseen power, and a strange presence lingered within the carved figure, as though some ancient soul had taken refuge inside the cold stone. Ling Han clasped his hands politely and spoke with calm curiosity. "May I know the honored name of this senior?" Before the last word fully left his lips, a crackling sound burst through the chamber. Lightning erupted from the statue like a furious serpent, streaking straight toward Ling Han. The voice that followed thundered with arrogance. "Young one, first I shall teach you a lesson, so that you learn how to respect your elders." Ling Han did not retreat. Instead, his fist surged forward like a thunderbolt. He activated the thunderclap ninth heaven. Lightning met lightning. Z! The chamber blazed with violent flashes as currents collided, weaving together in dazzling brilliance. Yet the clash ended abruptly with a thunderous bang. Pa Ling Han's body was hurled backward as though struck by a mountain. He slammed hard into the stone wall before rebounding forward again. But what truly surprised him was not the force. It was the wall. The attack had clearly reached the power of the heaven tier, yet the stone surface showed not the slightest crack. This place was sturdier than any fortress he had ever seen. The mysterious voice sounded genuinely surprised. "Interesting, Junior. Very interesting." The statue's voice carried both curiosity and amusement. "You are clearly only at the deity transformation tier, yet your battle strength has reached the heaven tier. Even your physical body has stepped into that level. Such a physique. This is rare, even in, well, let us just say it is extremely rare." Rare. Those words caused Ling Han's thoughts to churn. Rare meant it had happened before. Somewhere, someone else had reached such heights. Who exactly was this mysterious being? Even the Earth Dragon sect, famous for their body cultivation, could not produce such a physique. Jiaming, their once-in-10,000 years genius, possessed ancestral bloodlines considered peerless, yet his body merely rivaled rare metal of the same tier. Compared to Ling Han, it was not even close. But the voice did not stop there. And this little girl, it paused slightly, as if studying who knew. To withstand the shockwaves of that clash as though nothing happened, that is even more inconceivable. Strange, truly strange. How could such geniuses appear in a mayfly realm? Ling Han's brows furrowed. "Senior, what exactly is a mayfly realm?" The answer came with disdain. "Obviously your tiny little world." The voice swelled with pride. "This lord is the heavenly emperor of thunder and fire. Remember that name well, the strongest existence beneath the heavens." Ling Han kept a calm expression, but inwardly, he scoffed. Strongest in the world? If he was truly so invincible, why was he hiding inside a broken statue in this forgotten ruin? Why was he trapped here searching for treasures? Still, Ling Han revealed none of his thoughts. "So you are senior heavenly emperor of thunder and fire," he said politely. "But why call our world a mayfly realm?" The voice snorted. "A world without true stars, suns, or moons. What else could it be but a mayfly realm? Enough of this useless talk. Hurry and find the treasures this lord requires." Then the voice shifted its attention. "As for this little girl, leave her behind. This lord will accept her as a disciple." Who Knew immediately made a face. "Pa, New doesn't want to." The heavenly emperor tried again, sounding almost like someone coaxing a child. "This lord is very powerful." "No, this lord is the most powerful. If you become my disciple, there will be endless benefits." Thunder and fire. Hearing the title, Ling Han finally pieced things together. The terrifying lightning river and fire river outside the ruins must have been created by this heavenly emperor. Judging by that alone, his strength was indeed frightening, perhaps even comparable to the shattering void tier. And from his tone, he clearly did not originate from these lands, a being from the divine realm. No wonder he spoke with such arrogance. But Who Knew was unimpressed. "You're trapped here talking through a broken statue. How strong can you be?" she said bluntly. "Why, yeah!" The heavenly emperor exploded in fury. His divine sense surged wildly through the chamber like a raging storm. The pressure lingered for a long while before finally subsiding. After a moment, the voice spoke again with chilling determination. "One day this lord will recover his former strength. And when that day comes, all the elites of the highest heavens will fall. The entire world will kneel at this lord's feet. Before the tirade could continue, Ling Han calmly cut in. Senior, perhaps you could tell us something about the Divine Realm? Divine Realm? The Heavenly Emperor burst into laughter. Ha ha ha! And why should this lord explain anything to you? Youngster, bring the treasures I require. Do that, and this lord will answer whatever questions you wish. Ling Han immediately shook his head. Trading priceless treasures just to ask a few questions? Senior clearly does not know how to do business. Not interested. He paused, then added thoughtfully, but I might listen first. What treasures does Senior want? The Heavenly Emperor was irritated. A mere deity transformation junior. Daring to negotiate with him? But unfortunately, the situation was clear. He needed Ling Han. With a cold snort, the Heavenly Emperor finally spoke. This lord requires 4 items. True Dragon's Horn, Heavenly Phoenix Feather, Crimson Spirit Blood, Purple Valley Divine Metal. Ling Han's mouth twitched violently. Those were not ordinary treasures. They were divine relics of legend. Take the True Dragon's Horn alone. Even Hellion Shunshui, descendant of the True Dragons, possessed only the faintest trace of their bloodline. Even the Royal Ao family, rulers of the seas, merely held a slightly purer lineage. True dragons themselves were beings of myth. As for the other 3 items, they were no less impossible. Even the mightiest Shattering Void experts would struggle to obtain them. And Ling Han? He was only at the deity transformation tier. Even if he had the strength, where would he find them? But the Heavenly Emperor continued calmly. This lord is not asking you to find them now. Such treasures cannot exist in this barren world. But when you ascend to the Divine Realm, you may have the chance. This lord will wait for you. Ling Han almost laughed. Looking at the situation, the Heavenly Emperor had little choice but to wait. It didn't seem like he could leave anyway. With a mischievous smile, Ling Han asked, If I truly find these items, what kind of mystical power will Senior reward me with? If the reward were powerful enough, perhaps this deal was worth considering. The statue responded immediately. This lord will send you a fragment of divine sense. You may witness the power yourself. A small luminous point drifted out from the statue and floated before Ling Han. Ling Han did not act recklessly. He examined the light carefully for some time, confirming it contained only memory. Only then did he extend a finger and touch it. Wang! His consciousness instantly plunged into a battlefield. A fierce clash unfolded before him. 2 figures fought like celestial titans. One wielded a sword whose light pierced the heavens, each slash carrying terrifying might. The other figure, his face hidden behind drifting mist, radiated overwhelming presence. Though their identities were unclear, Ling Han instinctively felt that the second figure was the Heavenly Emperor of Thunder and Fire. Then the Heavenly Emperor unleashed his true power. From his body, 4 additional arms erupted. 6 arms in total, like a divine octopus of war. Each arm executed a different mystical technique simultaneously. 6 arms moved together, unleashing 5 mystical arts at once. The battlefield transformed instantly. The swordsman who had once held the advantage was suppressed beneath a storm of techniques. Ling Han was stunned. Even he, who possessed multiple mystical powers, could not use them simultaneously. The annihilating Dragon Star arrow and the earth-overturning seal could never be unleashed together. But if one had 6 arms, everything would change. The vision faded. The Heavenly Emperor's voice returned, filled with pride. How is it? That is the immovable deity metal body mystical power. What you saw was only the first tier. Cultivate it further, and your entire body will expand like a god of war. One sweep of your arm will crush mountains. This lord nearly died obtaining it from an ancient ruin. His voice turned seductive. Want to learn it? Bring those 4 divine items, and this lord will teach you. Learn it? Of course Ling Han wanted to learn it. Even the first tier alone, growing 6 arms, was terrifying. To unleash multiple mystical powers at once, its value was immeasurable. Ling Han nodded slowly. Very well. I will do my best to find those 4 divine treasures. Then he added with a calm smile. But Senior, my current strength is still too weak. If I die before finding them, wouldn't that be a loss for you as well? So perhaps Senior could teach me a little divine art first, to improve my chances? After all, opportunities like this did not come twice, and Ling Han had no intention of leaving without squeezing every possible advantage from this ancient Heavenly Emperor. The ancient stone chamber trembled faintly as the heavenly emperor of thunder and fire stared at the young man before him. The old emperor's voice thundered through the hall, carrying both dignity and irritation. "You haven't even begun working for this lord," he scoffed, "and already you're asking for rewards?" The tone carried disbelief. Never in his countless years had he encountered someone quite so bold, perhaps even shameless. Ling Han merely smiled calmly, as though such pressure meant nothing. His eyes gleamed with quiet confidence. "Senior," he replied leisurely, "coming here was no simple matter. In this entire world, I can guarantee that fewer than 5 people possess the ability to reach this place. If something unfortunate happens to me, Senior might have to wait another 80, perhaps even 100 years before the next suitable person appears." The stone chamber fell silent. The heavenly emperor of thunder and fire did not answer immediately. It seemed the old monarch was weighing those words carefully. After all, though the young man spoke casually, there was undeniable truth hidden within them. After a long moment, the emperor finally spoke again. "Fine. This lord will teach you a mystic art, though it will be slightly inferior. Still, anything passed down by this lord is naturally a unique technique beneath the heavens." Ling Han clasped his fists respectfully. "Senior, please enlighten me." After all, receiving benefits from a divine expert was no small fortune. The heavenly emperor seemed to ponder for a moment before continuing proudly. "What do you wish to learn?" "This lord is proficient in countless arts, saber techniques, sword techniques, rod techniques, palm arts, and many more. Even though there are some I never had the chance to cultivate personally, the exceptional arts stored within my memory alone would be enough to shake the entire world." Ling Han listened quietly. Whether the old emperor was boasting or not, Ling Han could not be certain. Still, he already had a clear idea of what he wanted. "I wish to learn formations." The request caused the stone chamber to grow still. Ling Han had his reasons. In close combat, he possessed the terrifying earth-overturning seal, a genuine mystical power capable of overturning heaven and earth. At mid-range, he wielded the 3 styles of black origin, a formidable martial technique that could remain effective even up to the shattering void tier. And when it came to long-distance destruction, he had the annihilating Dragon Star Arrow, another mystical power capable of unleashing boundless devastation. Thus, among all his abilities, only one weakness remained: formations. His understanding of formation arts was shallow at best, not because he lacked talent, but because true formation masters were incredibly rare. Few formations had survived the passing of time, and the sects that possessed such knowledge guarded them like priceless treasures. Any formation above the 6th tier was almost never taught to outsiders. Yet formations were extraordinary. Once established, they could harmonize perfectly with mystic arts, channeling the power of heaven and earth itself, without requiring constant control from the practitioner. Therefore, Ling Han wished to fill this final gap in his arsenal. The heavenly emperor of thunder and fire snorted lightly. "Humph, your luck is quite good." His tone carried faint dissatisfaction. "This lord does not practice formations personally. However, long ago, I happened to obtain an ancient formation by chance. Since you asked, I will pass it to you." As the words echoed through the chamber, the stone statue suddenly flickered. A sphere of shimmering light slowly emerged from its body and floated forward through the air. Ling Han observed it briefly before extending a finger and touching the glowing orb. Instantly, whang! A vast formation diagram exploded within his consciousness. Complex lines twisted and shifted endlessly, forming mysterious patterns that seemed to breathe with life. At the same time, fragments of knowledge flooded into his mind, explaining the basic principles behind the formation. The name of the formation appeared clearly within his thoughts: Ice Dragon Ground Blast Formation. Once deployed, it could gather the spirit energy of heaven and earth, condensing it into a terrifying ice dragon capable of unleashing power rivaling that of the shattering void tier. Ling Han's expression twitched slightly. "Damn, I've been tricked." The heavenly emperor of thunder and fire was clearly a being from the divine realm. The techniques he possessed, such as the thunderclap ninth heaven, were obviously divine-level mystical powers. Yet this formation, though formidable, it was only a 10th tier formation. A 10th tier formation could indeed rival the shattering void tier. but it was far below what Ling Han had imagined a divine emperor would provide. Still, Ling Han quickly calmed his thoughts. Even if the emperor had gifted him a divine-level formation, he wouldn't possess the materials needed to construct it anyway. Even 10th-tier materials were currently beyond his reach. However, mastering the formation patterns themselves would take considerable time. By the time he fully comprehended them, he might already have gathered the necessary resources. If he eventually unified the eastern, northern, western, and southern regions of the continent, obtaining 10th-tier materials would become far easier. Perhaps he could even ask Feng Po Yun to destroy a falling star. If fortune favored him, fragments of rare 10th-tier metals might be found within. Then another thought flashed through Ling Han's mind. Wait, I have the Heaven Transformation Bowl. Even if he lacked 10th-tier metals now, it didn't matter. As long as he had enough raw materials, the bowl could refine them step by step into higher-tier treasures. Meanwhile, the Heavenly Emperor of Thunder and Fire secretly sneered. Although he had indeed passed down a genuine 10th-tier formation, he believed Ling Han would never be able to complete it. Could a mere deity transformation tier youth gather such materials? Even if he did, carving intricate formation patterns onto 10th-tier metal would be an undertaking beyond imagination? Dare to bargain with this lord? Then watch helplessly as the treasure remains forever out of reach. Yet what the emperor did not know was that Ling Han possessed two heaven-defying treasures, the Heaven Transformation Bowl and the Black Tower. With such tools, as long as the materials existed, refining 10th-tier metal was not impossible. The true difficulty lay elsewhere, understanding the formation itself. Ling Han smiled and cupped his fists again. Many thanks, Senior. The Heavenly Emperor laughed lightly. Hehe, an emperor does not keep hungry soldiers. Since you are working for this lord, naturally, this lord will not treat you poorly. In truth, the old emperor believed Ling Han was secretly swallowing a bitter grievance. After a brief pause, the emperor continued. Leave this little girl here with this lord. I will personally guide her cultivation with utmost care. In time, she will become a peerless genius capable of sweeping across the world. Before Ling Han could respond, Hu Nu immediately exploded. No, no, stinky stone, she shouted fiercely. Lord Nu is warning you. Don't even think about taking Nu, or Nu will eat you. Her small face burned with indignation. Take her as a disciple? Was this stone even qualified? Ling Han chuckled awkwardly. Senior, she is still young. Matters of discipleship can be discussed in the future. For someone like Senior, 100 years passes in the blink of an eye. The Heavenly Emperor was clearly displeased, but he swallowed his frustration. He still needed Ling Han. Once the young man gathered the 4 divine items he sought, the Emperor would be able to escape his current predicament. At that time, dealing with Ling Han would be as effortless as turning one's hand. And that little girl? She would naturally become his disciple whether she wished to or not. Ling Han then asked another question. Senior, could you tell me something about the divine realm? Umph, the Emperor snorted impatiently. This lord has already given you benefits. You haven't even begun working yet, and now you wish to pry into such meaningless matters? When you ascend to the divine realm someday, you will naturally learn everything. What difference does it make whether you know now or later? Then he barked sharply. Go! Hurry up and leave! If the stone statue had arms, it would likely have waved them impatiently. Ling Han knew the statue was not the Emperor's true body. The endless rivers of thunder and flame flowing down the mountain walls hinted that the true body might lie somewhere deep beneath the valley. But whether trapped or injured, the Emperor would never reveal such secrets. Ling Han clasped his fists. Then, Senior, farewell. He grabbed Hu Nu's hand and turned to leave. The little girl still looked displeased. Before departing, she turned back and stuck out her tongue, making a mocking face at the stone statue. Only then did she skip away after Ling Han. As before, she led the way through the strange terrain. After the 2 figures vanished, a faint divine sense stirred within the silent stone chamber. How strange. The Heavenly Emperor of Thunder and Fire murmured inwardly. Just who exactly is this little girl? She was able to ignore this lord's 5 senses blockade. Her cultivation was clearly low, yet even in his weakened state, less than 1/10,000th of his former power, he should still be capable of trapping an existence at the sentiment severance tier. And yet she walked through it as if nothing existed. If that blockade had fully activated, neither of them would have been able to enter at all. The Emperor sighed silently. This lord can no longer control his own power. The five senses blockade protects me. Yet it has also become my shackles. But now, that strange little girl had brought him a sliver of hope. If that brat dies before fulfilling my task. The thought lingered in the air. He had better not die. Before long, Ling Han finally stepped out of the cave. The moment he emerged, his five senses returned. Sight, sound, smell, touch. Everything flooded back like a roaring tide. Ling Han paused for a moment, deeply shaken. The path he had walked earlier had not been long. Yet to him, it felt as though he had endured thousands, perhaps even tens of thousands of years. Had his willpower been any weaker, his mind might have collapsed long ago. He slowly turned back and gazed at the cave behind him, on the vast and boundless lands beneath the heavens. Just how many ancient monsters like that still slumbered in the shadows? Ling Han murmured quietly to himself. One day, I will surpass them all. And with that thought burning within his heart, he continued forward into the world beyond.